Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts on the French wheeled vehicle tech tree line, but more specifically I'll be giving you my thoughts and my take on the Tier 10 EBR 105. Before we get into that though, if you enjoy this video, please leave it a like, a comment, hit that subscribe button, and if you're interested in supporting me any further, please check out the link to my Patreon in the description. Okay, these wheeled vehicles are very squirrely, as you just saw. Are these things worth the grind? That's probably the question a lot of you are asking at this point. For those of you that don't have much time, here's my short review. Yes, these vehicles are worth the grind. The Tier 7 is very good. Possibly too good, I would say, at this point. The Tier 8 holds its own very well against Tier 10s. And the Tier 9 is an improvement on the Tier 8, and the Tier 10, which again you're seeing here, is excellent fun. Absolutely fantastic, this thing. If you want a new take on the game, then this line is definitely worth your time, your effort, and your silver, possibly some of your free XP if you want to get to Tier 10 a little bit quicker. Right, let's get into some of the details. The first thing I will talk about is something that applies to the entire wheeled vehicle line. Now, at this point, I want you to forget concealment, forget armor values, view range, round penetration, gun alpha, everything that goes into a vehicle or a tank in this game, forget all of it. What I want to focus on right now is just driving these things. And the first point I'll make is wheeled vehicles cannot traverse their hulls the same way that a regular tank can. To change direction, you have to be moving either forwards or backwards. This means that if you're hiding behind a rock and you are perpendicular to the angry boomstick that is pointing towards you, you have to leave cover in order to, well, try and get away from said angry tank. And there is no turning on the spot to keep the cover between yourself and the angry guy that wants to kill you, basically. you can't play this the same way you do every other tank that's in the game. There is no turning on the spot, and that is something that does take some getting used to, and it's caught me out several times. The second point I'll make on the driving topic is these things are very, very light and very, very fast. You're going to catch some good airtime in these things, and you're going to slide all over the place like you've just seen me do when you go over jumps. I've lost count of the number of times I've gone off a jump, landed awkwardly, and lost half of my hit points. Like, the number of games I've played where I've done more damage to myself than the enemy team has, I lose count. It happens a lot. If you're going to go off a jump, take it head on and square on. If you go over any kind of jump or crest or anything that will launch this vehicle off the ground, you will spin in the air, you'll start to turn in the air, and the landing is going to hurt. A major part of doing well in these vehicles is, well, it's driving them well. And in this particular game, I managed to finish second because I managed to keep control of it. And I didn't YOLO off a cliff or anything, any kind of jump. I managed to keep control of my vehicle. And that is the end of that game. We came second, which is a good result given I'm not the best driver in these things, but from what I'm experiencing, I would say that a good driver will rack up some very good assist while on the move. And I don't classify myself as a very good driver. So the game you just saw and the ones you're about to see here this is me, really. This is the raw footage of me just trying to get to grips with these things, trying to figure out how they play. And you're going to see some moments where I awkwardly get myself into trouble and I have to, you know, get myself out of trouble, basically. Your gameplay can go from being really epic and fast to, well, now I look like a plonker. But, like that, right there. That almost went very wrong. But if we're going to compare these things to the other light tanks in the game, because that is essentially what we're going to be doing. This isn't a premium, this is a tech tree tank, and, you know, you've got to grind for it, you've got to earn it. So how does it compare to the other light tanks in the game? Well, as far as being an active light tank goes, the stats are quite poor when you compare them to, well, the other lights that we've got. Standard round penetration is the worst for all tier 10 lights. Firing gold in the EBR 105 provides you with the kind of penetration that other light tanks get with their standard rounds. So if you want to, as far as, you know, gunfights go, if you want to match other lights, you'd have to put in gold, which could get expensive. That's up to you. You don't have to, but if you want to play this as a more active light tank, then that's what you may end up having to do. It's alpha. Standard round alpha is 390 though, that's average for a tier 10 light. That's good, and that beats out the T100, which only has 300. The view range isn't the worst of all the light tanks either, which comes in at 440, and I've got that's the view range with optics. So, you know, looking at it so far, it's probably below average, I would say. The EBR 105 is below average. This vehicle, though, comes into its own when we take a look at the speed and concealment. When you've got rapid mode activated with the advanced powertrain equipment equipped on the vehicle, you'll be hitting 89 kilometers an hour on the flat, and that can go up to 100 kilometers an hour downhill. This thing is very, very quick. Add to that the concealment of 230 meters with the advanced concealment equipment. This vehicle, it does feel like a Cold War light almost, with the speed and the concealment. It's sort of, this is probably the first tank that I would say bridges the gap between Cold War and World War II. And I think maybe one of the things that's holding me back a little bit playing this thing is I do end up thinking, oh, I'm playing Cold War, I can play this like I do in Cold War. And that's kind of what you're seeing here. Is I've probably gotten a little, I've gone in too close to this guy. The topography of the map is causing me to not be as close to him as I would like, and I took a few shots, which I probably shouldn't have. I wasn't playing it sensibly, and this right here is me trying to learn how these vehicles work. Right, so I've covered a few of the major stats. No, well, I've covered all of the major stats. All of the major stats that you would look at and take seriously when you look at playing any kind of vehicle in this game. In my opinion, this is not a line that I would recommend for first-time players. If you want to learn light tanking, play the other French line, the AMX line, which ends up with the AMX 105, I think. I forget the name of it. Off the top of my head, I forget the name of it. But it's the 4-shot auto loader. An alternative to that is to play the Russian line, which culminates with the T100 LT. The French Tier 10 light, tracked light, and the Russian light, they're both very, very good light tanks, and that is what I would recommend to anyone who wants to learn to play light tanking. Wheeled vehicles, and the reason I say that is because wheeled vehicles, they are very difficult to play, in my opinion. You've got no armor, very few hit points, and the protection your speed provides can so very easily be taken away if you get hit. Now, what you're seeing here, this is a demonstration of how the EBR 105 is incredibly good when it's, what I would say, played correctly. I'm in so close to this chisel. He can't traverse, he can't turn his turret. It's too quick. Even if he snaps around the other way like you just saw him do, it's too quick. When you're in this close, the EBR is just too fast to keep up with. And kill shot bounces, I do remember that. At this point I was getting nervous because I saw the other medium coming in on my position. The reload is longer than I'd like it to be. And there's the kill shot. So I thought, right, I've taken care of the chisel. I saw the FV on almost full health. My wheel's gone. That's the advantage he needed to get his gun round and pop me one right in the side. So that's an example of how you can go from being in control to not in control very, very quickly. And that is what makes these things so difficult to play. There isn't much of a safety cushion between a safe play style and, oh crap, I'm in trouble and I'm dead. Because when you hit the oh crap, I'm in trouble, your 1300 hit points will disappear with some of the heavies in this game. That's 2 shots. 2 shots and you are dead. 3 shots at most. So these things are very hard to play, but they are incredibly fun to play. So yeah, the play style, you have to play to its strengths, and the strengths of this vehicle is speed and concealment. Now, that's probably something you could say for any other light tank in the game, and I think I said the same thing in my tier 8 EBR review, which is basically that the speed is what provides your protection, but because you're 80% wheels, it's side on, the side profile is your 80% wheels, so that's where you're going to get hit. And when you do get hit in the wheels, the protection that your speed gives you will disappear, and then you become just a thinly armored target, probably in the middle of a field, because that's what you would need to utilize the speed of this thing. You need open space. So yeah, it can so easily go from good to bad, and that, in my opinion, is what makes these things so hard. They are incredibly fun, but hard work. From what I've experienced playing them, you either want to be, and this is where I'll talk about the playstyle a little bit, you either want to be a passive scout, sniping from range, which is something that I think I tried to do a little bit of that in this game. Now I'm being quite aggressive here, pushing up, just because I feel that's what needs to happen at the start of a game, and I take a shot in the side there, and the thin armor comes straight through there because you see my radio operator's gone. So first shot, crew members down. That gives you an idea of just how vulnerable these things are if you get hit. So yeah, playstyle is you either want to be a passive scout, sit in a bush, sit in concealment, snipe from range, so that every shot you take doesn't you don't get detected when you fire the gun, or you want to be on top of your enemy, driving circles around them and whittling their health down while they struggle to see you, which is exactly what happened with that chisel in the previous game. You either want to be far away from them, or you basically want to be on top of them so close that you could easily crash into them and kill yourself. I mean, I have done that. I've done it before, and I'm probably going to do it again. It just seems to be the way these vehicles are, and if I had to summarize, I would say the EBR 105 and the whole line is excellent fun. They are a lot of fun to play. If I had to fault the EBR 105 though, I would say that the shell penetration is too low and the reload is too long. If I'm going to have low penetration on my shell and bounce a fair bit, I would like a reload that is, going to make up for that, because this is, with my fully skilled crew, I've got my crew set up for concealment and speed. Even with that crew, I think the reload is just under 10 seconds, which does, when you don't pen a shot, 10 seconds is a long time. And my first kill shot on the chisel in the previous game bounced. I had to loop around him maybe 1 or 2 more times before I could actually get the kill shot off. And if I had to criticize the EBR 105, that is what I would say. Those are the 2 things that I would say it doesn't do so well on. It doesn't feel overpowered though, and I know this is a massive topic of discussion. Before these vehicles arrived in the game, this was a massive topic for discussion, because the only reference point we had for wheeled vehicles in a World of Tanks game was PC. And I mean, you don't have to look very hard to find out that almost 99% of PC players dislike the EBRs because they've basically made light tanks redundant. And I'll just break from that topic here to take a look here. I can see the standard B. He's almost on the edge of my detection range, firing through the bush so I don't get detected. That's something that I've had to pay attention to a lot when playing this thing, because if you get detected, it's not so easy to escape if you get hit. And when you're trying to build your speed up again after you've been stationary like this because you're aiming, you know, you're an easier target. So it takes some getting used to. And yeah, maybe I'm struggling with this, and maybe I say this is a difficult type of vehicle to play because it is so new and I'm not used to it. But hey, nice red square there. But yeah, anyway, jumping back to the reference point of PC, the reference point that PC has is that wheeled vehicles have basically replaced light tanks. And I don't think that's quite true for console. These vehicles are good, but they are not so good that a light tank can't compete. If you get shot in the wheels, you will take the damage. That wheel will be disabled. You will have to use your repair kit. And if you get shot while your repair kit is on cooldown, then you're going to lose, like, I don't know exactly what percentage of your speed you lose per wheel, but with one wheel out, you notice it. Your maneuverability goes way down. You really, really notice it. So I think Wargaming Console have done a very good job of balancing how these vehicles interact with the other lights in the game. Another thing that makes these vehicles difficult to play is, and this is what I'm doing here, you've got to activate rapid mode to gain the top speed, but then you have to deactivate rapid mode to get your shots off accurately. And if you go back and rewind that small section, I'm toggling the rapid mode on and off as I go as just before I take my shot, I toggle it off. Once I've taken the shot, I toggle it back on. And that's part of the learning how to play this type of vehicle. There's a bit more going on with this type of vehicle than there is with other types of light tanks. And that's the last tank dead. And I think I finished third in this game. So, you know, I haven't had many MVP games. I haven't had many you know, games where I just run away with the match and it's an incredible tank and oh, it's amazing, it's overpowered. No, it's none of those things. It's a tank that's going to take some getting used to. I say tank, it's a vehicle. It's going to take some getting used to, and I do think that while it's hard work to play, it is a lot of fun. And I do think that if you're someone who's getting a little bit bored with the game because you've been playing for 8 years, or you want a fresh take on light tanking or just the game in general, you are guaranteed to have a blast with the wheeled vehicles. And again, the games I've shown, they're not the best ones I've had. If you do want to see the best EBR 105 games I've had, then I'll put a link in the description to my EBR live stream, and there are timestamps in the comments to 3 of my best games in the EBR 105. So if you want to check those out, check out my last live stream, which is the EBR 105 live stream. Okay, that's about all I have for this one, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, if not a dislike. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and as always, I hope you're all still keeping safe, and I will see you out there.